My first Commonwealth Games was in Vancouver in 1954. We were away from home for 53 days and we actually spent about 2 weeks in the village. The remaining time was getting to and from Vancouver. And you wouldn't like to hear how we got to Vancouver. We left Trinidad on a bauxite boat from Timbledora. Traveled for 14 days up the St. Lawrence River. We landed at a port called Port Alfred. From Port Alfred, we got to Vancouver via taxi to a town called Arvida, Chicoutimi, then to Montreal. When I reached Montreal, I said, well, this is the end of it. Only to find out that the train wasn't even until the afternoon. So we spent the morning by our High Commissioner in Montreal. I can't remember his name. I think it was Stallmeyer. And for 4 nights and 3 days, we traveled on the CNR from Montreal to Vancouver. When we reached Vancouver, we were called the missing team because everybody was inquiring, where were we and so on. But that was my first Commonwealth Games. In those days, it was called the British Empire and Commonwealth Games. The first Olympics I went to was in 1956 in Melbourne, Australia. I went as the general manager of the team and weightlifting coach. Dr. Roderick Macano, medical officer of health of the city of Port of Spain, he was the chef de mission. And we traveled by a roundabout route. We traveled from here to Vancouver, Canada. From Vancouver, we went down to Melbourne via Hawaii. That was my first Olympic Games. 1959, we went as the West Indies team. That was the time of the short-lived federation. 2 international games we took part as West Indies Federation. One was 59 in Chicago, and the other one was the Olympic Games in Rome in 1960. As a result of the unification of the West Indies, we had to form federations. And we formed the West Indies Weightlifting Federation, of which I happened to be the secretary. We had 5 members on that team, 5 members of the West Indies team, and none from Trinidad. I was the coach. We had a chap called Don Heron from Jamaica, Marvel from Barbados. We also had a chap, a bantamweight called Sobers from Barbados. He eventually went on to make the Olympics in 1960 in Rome. He was the sole weightlifter in that team. In 1962, we attended the Central American and Caribbean Games in Jamaica. At that time, we were not independent. But in that short space of time in 1962, when we attained independence in August, we went down to the Commonwealth Games in Perth, Australia. That was a very small team comprising of track, cycling, and weightlifting. As a matter of fact, only 6 of us were on that team. I was the general manager and weightlifting coach. I was the sole official. We were very successful in weightlifting in those days. We won 2 bronze medals from Jackie Samuel and Brandon Bailey. Well, there's no doubt in my mind in the Olympic movement, what stood out was when we won the gold medal in 1976 in Montreal, Canada. I was the chef de mission of the team, and I always remembered about 3 or 4 days before the athletics started, there was a warm-up meet in Montreal, and I was there with a big blanket over my shoulders and so on because it was very cold, and Hazley Crawford won the race, and I remembered hearing a reporter at my right saying, Trinidad should lay down the red carpet because they're going to win a medal. That was before the track and field began. And lo and behold, he did win the medal and so on. And the important thing about that too is that if you were listening to the commentary, as I listened after before I actually looked at the race, the commentators weren't concerned about Hazley at all. The first time they mentioned Hazley's name, I think, is when he won the race. That was an outstanding Olympic Games for me. The only thing that came close to it was in Jamaica in 1966 at the Commonwealth Games when we won the 440 yards. It was for Commonwealth Games. We won first and second with Motley and Ken Bernard. And when it came to the relay, I was sitting down next to Herb McKinley, and he says, "Alec, you saw the time?" I said, "No, what is it?" It was a world record. And it stood for some time because even in those days at the Olympics, we used to run in meters, not it was only the Commonwealth Games who decided that they want to stick to their yards. It was Motley, Ken Bernard, Edwin Roberts, and Edwin Skinner. Edwin Skinner was actually at the Commonwealth Games in '66 in Jamaica, but he got injured. And Yarwood, who was 800 meters, he had to do the leg and so on. And he had a famous calypso on that event where they said, Yarwood run 800 and he flopped, but in the relay come out on top. Because with Motley, Roberts, and Ken Bernard, they made history for Trinidad. I think Superior sang that song, I'm not too sure. Edwin Roberts in the 200 meters, he came third, bronze medal. Then Motley won the silver in the 400, and then we won the bronze medal in the 4x4. So those were our first track medals. I can tell you the impression that was made in Japan, in that as a result of our victories and medals and so on, they sent a trade mission here, and they had a big expose in Hilton Hotel and so on. The government put on a function and so on. So we made an impression there and then.